of Shivananda Vani or for the seekers of God. हमें आशा है आप सभी को ये प्रोग्राम अच्छा लग रहा है, ये बुक रीडिंग अच्छी लग रही है और अगर वीडियोस अच्छे लगते हैं तो लाइक और शेयर कीजिए और सब्सक्राइब करना नहीं भूलिएगा। तो let us start our today's episode. We'll be doing Mahapurushji's Reminiscence. Mahapurushji's Reminiscence of the Olden Days, first thing. Next, Swamiji's appearance at the Parliament of Religion in Chicago and his unique success. The Master worked through him. जगह है बेलूर मॉनेस्ट्री, समय है Wednesday, August 6th, 1930. In the morning, the sadhus of the monastery gradually gathered in Mahapurushji's room to pay their respects to him. When Swami Vivekananda stood up after saluting him, Mahapurushji inquired, "Well, what have you been studying these days?" Swami Vivekananda, "The Srimad Bhagavat is being studied." Mahapurushji, "What particular section of the Bhagavat?" Vijayananda, "The section dealing with 24 gurus of Avadhut, an illumined sage, is being read." Omkarananda reads, I listen. Sometimes he studies the lesson beforehand and narrates it in story form. It is because of his enthusiasm that I have been reading the Bhagavat. He insists on studying the Vaishnava philosophy. That is why I am doing it. Mahapurushji, we too had similar studies and discussions with Swamiji. At different times, he would be in different moods and would inspire us accordingly. Sometimes we would discuss the path of knowledge, at other times the path of devotion, and so on. There were times when we would remain absorbed with one idea for a month at a stretch. We would be engrossed in the same mood day and night without interruption. While eating, lying down, or sitting around, at all times we would have the same discussion and arguments. See, the discussions and the arguments have been always the same, and we would also perform spiritual disciplines appropriate to those moods. So now this is what is so important. Whatever the mood which is being followed, that is what is being practiced all the time. Swamiji was very fond of the idea of Lord Buddha, and he was well read in Buddhism philosophy. He was not one-sided in any way. From those days on, Swamiji had ideas, language, and reasoning of a unique kind. Even his ordinary conversation would be full of lofty ideas expressed in scholarly language. So he is embracing everything around him, not deviating, but he is still with Sri Ramakrishna. He liked the style of Milton. Now he's talking about Swami Vivekananda. Mahapurush Maharaj is talking about Swami Vivekananda. He said he liked the style of Milton and he would carry on his discussions and arguments in that style. Before going to America, Swamiji wandered as an itinerant monk from one corner of India to another. And during those wanderings, he met the Divan of Junagadh. By talking with Swamiji, the Divan was so impressed that he said to him, "Swamiji, you have a very bright future before you." His prediction came true. While in America, Swamiji became a little nervous at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago. It was but natural. It was such a huge gathering, thousands of people, the very best, the cream of society. Swamiji didn't know what he would say because he hadn't gone there with a prepared lecture. Imagine, he didn't even have a prepared lecture. Dr. Burrows called upon him to speak, but he kept putting him off. Suddenly, he was reminded of a certain verse. I salute the all blissful Krishna, whose compassion makes the mute become eloquent and the cripple scale mountains. The moment this verse came to his mind, all nervousness left him. Mukang karoti vachalang. That is the stanza. Saluting the master mentally, he stood up. And what followed, you must have read. The world heard a new message from his lips. His lecture was the very best. My child, it was all the play of the power of God. Swamiji was a direct instrument of the Master. All the scholarly speakers who came prepared to establish the greatness of their denominations paled into insignificance before Swamiji. Noticing his success, the people of America collected large funds and sent Dr. Burrows to India and such other countries to preach Christianity. Dr. Burrows visited different places in India and gave lectures with very little results. Swamiji started preaching the message of Vedanta in the West, and we received reports of his lecture here. At first, we could hardly believe that these were lectures by Swamiji when we read them. He didn't use the language nor the ideas we were familiar with. Everything became changed. It had a new message and a new language. Before going to America, in his conversations here, we had a learning he had a leaning towards the path of knowledge, and his language was quite philosophical and scholarly. But in the lectures which he gave in the West, his language was simple and direct, and his ideas were full of life and love. Returning to India, he remarked, do you think I gave those lectures? It was the Master who spoke through me. In reality, it was so. So, when the Master wants to get something done, he would get it done. So, हमको भगवान पे हमेशा भरोसा रखना है कि अगर कोई काम वो चाहते हैं कि हो, वो काम वो हमसे या किसी से भी करवा लेंगे. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो काम अधूरा रह जाएगा. और अगर वो काम हमारे पास आता है, हम उसको करते हैं, तो हमें खुशनसीब समझना चाहिए अपने आप को कि हम वो काम कर पा रहे हैं, कर सक रहे हैं और कर रहे हैं. सो श्री श्री ठाकुर को नमन करते हुए we will stop here today. Thank you all for joining us. Do subscribe to our channel. Keep in touch with Devakshar all the time and always look forward to our videos. Like and share them, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being with us. Namaskar.